You're about to learn the 5 habits that changed my life. These aren't just productivity hacks, but these are identity shifters. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another video at Renewable Mind. My name is Damien, and this channel is dedicated for those of us who do not want to be average, for those of us who want to be progressively getting better each and every single day. On this channel, we cover mindset hacks, we cover tips to becoming more emotionally aware, along with gaining better perspective. Today's video is going to be focusing on the 5 habits that changed my life. These small steps made absolutely big changes, not only how I felt day to day, not only increasing my mood throughout the day, but also how I was able to achieve goals at a much faster rate. So let's start out with number one. And number one should be no surprise to anyone, but it is physical exercise. Healthy habits improve your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Staying active helps boost your energy, it reduces your cortisol level, it reduces stress, and it prevents illness. The number one tip I'm going to give here is you don't have to think of conventional. You don't have to think conventional when you are thinking of physical exercise. A lot of people, when it comes to thinking of physical exercise, when they're just getting started, they get trapped in a box thinking they have to be either A, lifting weights, or B, doing cardiovascular machine exercises at the gym, or doing things like running. That is technically incorrect. You can be doing anything that you are interested in as long as it is physically active. So that could be something like dancing, it could be something as simple as skateboarding, it could be swimming at your local pool, or yes, of course, it could be doing those traditional exercises, those traditional physical activities. Whatever it is, playing sport by yourself, playing sport in a team environment, in a social environment is definitely a big plus if you can do that. There are many different social clubs, there are many different ways that you can exercise. Or if you want to keep it at the most simplest level that everything can do is free, it's just take a walk around your local area, whether it be in the morning or whether it be in the evening. You need to start moving your body. Number two is going to be doing what is known as a dopamine detox. So for those of you who don't know what a dopamine detox would be removing yourself from almost all areas of life that is external, that brings you a little bit of joy. So that would be removing yourself from music, it would be removing yourself from your TV, it would be removing yourself from your phone. And while this sounds like a very drastic step or thing to do, it is actually very beneficial. So regularly removing yourself from artificial dopamine spikes that you are getting when you open your phone, getting on social media, seeing all these colorful images, getting absolutely bombarded with images and videos. Your dopamine is getting spiked at a very, very unnatural level too early in the day. And like anything that comes up, it must come down. And it comes down in a very drastic fashion. And then the thing about this is your body, your brain is then getting wired to chase that dopamine in the same direction throughout the entire day. So you get stuck in this cycle of chasing cheap highs. Cheap highs referring to these artificial dopamine spikes that you do get from social media, that you are getting from TV, that you are getting from junk food, etc. So when you remove yourself from this environment, you are resetting your dopamine baseline, which is going to keep you grounded and focused on authentic experiences. So your dopamine baseline resets itself at the start of each and every single day, typically if you've had a good night's rest. And then if you keep yourself in a more natural state, in a more natural cycle, keeping away from these artificial things, whether it be junk food, whether it be social media, anything basically on your smartphone, you are going to gradually increase your dopamine throughout the day and have less and less spikes, which is obviously going to be a great thing. Number three is evening journaling. I prefer myself to journal in the evening is because it is a reflection at the end of the day. If you're doing journaling in the first thing in the morning, at least for me personally, my brain takes quite some time. It takes a good 30 minutes for my brain to get out of those theta waves when you are first waking up to getting to a state where I can process things. And I find that at the evening, at the end of the day, you are clearer, you are able to note more about how you felt throughout that day. Maybe you may be able to write about specific things that happened and how you felt about them, which gives you a much better reflection of not only your mood, but also where you're at. So journaling helps you process your thoughts and feelings. Writing these things down into words not only gives you a visual reference for you to look at, and it's also keeping a personal record, but it also allows you to externalize your perspective. So when you have these thoughts running through your mind every single day, like a calendar, they just flick over, flick over, flick over. You may have, a list of 20 plus things that are running through your mind. It's very, very hard to process them. But when you're writing these things down in paper, or maybe you're doing your journaling through an app on your phone, you are able to externalize them and look at them in a different perspective, and you're able to deal with them in a much simpler way. I would recommend, if you are very new to journaling, use a template to start. There's 101 different templates that you can find free online. So especially when starting out, if you're using a template when you start journaling, it's going to give you the best direction as to what you need to be writing, the feelings you need to be writing down, so that you can actually be getting the benefits of journaling as a whole. Number 4 is learning to say no. So when you say no to commitments that you are only doing because you feel obligation, you're only doing because you feel like you owe someone something, you are actually protecting your own time and energy, which is going to allow you to significantly improve your own emotional well-being and focus on your own goals at a much faster and a much healthier rate. When we do these things, when we give ourselves more time to, whether it be creative, whether it be something like rest, whether it be spending time with our own loved ones, you're going to be experiencing much more fulfillment in your own life, which is going to lead you to feel much happier, along with giving you the emotional peace that when things do happen, when you are actually needed by someone who you love and someone who you do want to help, you're going to be able to do it at a much more efficient rate. Because otherwise, when we are saying yes, yes, yes to all these commitments that we traditionally don't want to, and we feel obligated to say yes, we are draining ourselves. We are making ourselves much more internally frustrated, which is going to be ruining our own emotional health. So learn to say no and learn to protect your own energy and your own time. And the last one, number 5, is going to be intentional solitude. So you want to be putting yourself in an isolated environment away from daily distractions. Whether you can best off do this in nature, obviously nature is not always accessible for everyone every time. But if you can't get yourself in nature in a peaceful spot, you can be doing this in your own room, maybe a spare room in your house, maybe somewhere in your backyard, somewhere in your front yard, or maybe, if so, even just sitting in your car. This is going to give you a power boost to not only your own personal reflection, but it's also going to help resetting your brain stress hormone cortisol. So when we give ourselves a time out from life, when we give ourselves a no distraction environment so that we can reflect on how we're feeling, help us process day-to-day stresses, we are doing ourselves a massive, massive benefit that is going to help us in the longer run. Too often now, our lives are full of distractions, whether it be work, social commitments, even things on your phone. All these things are cluttering up your life, and you need to be in a distraction-free environment so that you can process your thoughts and emotions and feelings on a consistent basis. So that is it for today's video. If you did learn something, if you did feel benefit in this video, please do me a favor, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button if you do not want to miss out on one of my 3 new weekly videos. I appreciate you all watching, and I will see you in here next time at Renewable Mind.